Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Hildreth News. And really should have it as and commentary. But anyway, we are back with some Idaho4. Since that seems to be everybody's cup of tea. So, and you also like when I make fun of people. And I like making fun of people. So we're going to get back to doing that. And in this, we got some conspiracy theories that she's going to try to bust. Some I agree, some I disagree. We have the time frame that she's going to go after. And, well, she's going to defend and I'm going to go after. And, like I said, we got Hunter Johnson's girlfriend spouting off about something. So, let's, without further ado, we'll dive into it. But before we do, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, so you don't miss any, as my little news channel is going to get turned into true crime, because it seems to be the cup of tea. So, I only do what the people. So, without further ado, let's get into this first one.
Social media, she is Hunter Johnson's girlfriend. She showed up at the Idaho4 house before 911 was called. She says, "Thank you so much. It's incredibly upsetting to see and read some of the false narratives being spread right now. It's
I wouldn't call it false narratives, but okay.
hard enough watching people create outrageous conspiracy theories instead of honoring the kind of people they truly were."
Oh, I'm sorry. We're just trying to find justice for him. I mean, I get that you want to put this to bed because in a normal world, Hunter Johnson doesn't look good. In a normal, sane world, when you roll up onto a crime scene, you see two people stabbed to death and one dude with a knife. Yeah, you're gonna have some questions. But of course, we live in the stupidest timeline on the planet, and the police don't ask any questions. Any other, like, seriously, any other timeline that we live in where there are rules and laws, Hunter Johnson's walking out of that house in handcuffs. Plain and simple. Until they figure out what's going on. I'm not saying Hunter Johnson did it, but with what we saw on the buddy cam, if we had no other contacts, I mean, you roll up onto a crime scene, you see two people stabbed to death, and this was before we knew about Maddie and Kaylee. Well, the cops knew about Maddie and Kaylee. You roll up onto a crime scene, got a dude holding a knife with two victims stabbed to death. Yeah. But anyway, continue on, Riley.
all outstanding individuals. But to then see others attack my boyfriend Hunter and my friends Dylan and Bethany is especially painful. It hurts to know that so much of the public chooses cruelty over compassion.
Oh, justice over believing bullshit. That's what that is. And friends, I'm curious, and I know there's going to be people who know the dynamic so much better than I. But let me know down in the comments. Was Emily close with Dylan and Bethany before all this went down? Genuine question. And I'd also be curious to see if they still actually talk, because Bethany's might as well be on the back of a milk carton at this point. She's been nowhere to be seen, heard, and then you have Dylan getting what was it, $250,000 on GoFundMe for doing nothing. But anyway, carry on.
People can say whatever they want about me. I know who I am, and God knows who I am. What others say cannot.
Oh, he's going to be judging you all right when it's time. Whatever sins you committed that night, you will have to answer for.
Bring me down. But I wish people would pause the absurdity for just a moment, turn to the Lord, and recognize how deeply hurtful their words are to family and friends.
I don't care. I know it seems cruel and uncompassionate and unsympathetic, but it's not about Emily. It's not about Hunter. It's not about Dylan and Bethany. It's not about Steve G. It's not about it's not about the families. It's not about Idaho University. It's not about Washington State. It's not even about Bryan Kohberger. It is about finding justice for 4 people who were murdered in their homes. And you look at the evidence, and it's quite clear and obvious. At the bare minimum, Kaylee was tortured to death.
Life isn't fair, but 4 years of kicking us while we're already down and grieving is more than enough. If this behavior can't stop, it's hard not to feel like compassion is disappearing from the world. And she commented this on the social.
Yeah, compassion goes away when there are 80,000 more questions than answered, and everybody looks suspicious as hell. Period.
Social media of the creator that goes by the name London's Notebook. Obviously, true crime is always going to be a thing. Cases are always going to be talked about, and I myself talk about cases in great detail. However, here is your reminder to just...
Well, you look at People magazine and kind of go off that and all the talking heads who decide to not put things all together on the same string of time. But go ahead.
Be mindful of what you are saying, especially if you are speaking on these real cases, because the victims and their family and friends do see those posts. Every time I cover these cases, I always try and do it in a way that is providing the facts and shutting down narratives.
No, you just promulgate the media talking narrative of not thinking, not being a critical thinker, and actually raising your hand being like, hey, that doesn't make sense. That is all I am doing. I'm like, hey, that something's wrong here. Like, I'm not this like super genius Leroy Jethro Gibbs crime solving genius. I'm just like, hey, that's weird. You got an answer for that one? Oh, why you gotta question that? That's gonna affect the victim's family. But no, I'm just pointing out that that doesn't make sense. But anyway, continue on.
All of these people are victims, especially.
Oh. We almost made it a full second. We almost made it a full second before I had to stop this thing again. No, there are 4 victims in this. 4. Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Goncalves. Emily Allant isn't a victim. Bethany and Dylan, sure as shit, are not victims. Hunter Johnson's not a victim. Jack DeCour's not a victim. Jack, the other Jack, oh gosh, his name's completely slipping my mind. But the other Jack, he is not a victim. The families, yeah, I feel for them, but they are not victims. The victims are the 4 that did not walk out of that house. And we still, to this day, do not know why and who. And you can sit there and say, oh, it was Bryan Kohberger. No, because it doesn't make sense. Okay. I've done this pretty much every time I've talked about this, and I'm going to do it again. Break it all the way down. And here's how and you have a person who has never murdered in his life, who is socially awkward, who overcame drug addiction while having OCD. He's on the spectrum. He is as I said, socially awkward, a loner, and he overcomes a drug addiction. He gets into college. He excels in school. He goes to Washington State for his master's in criminology and then throws it away because he decided, you know what? I'm feeling lucky tonight. Let's take a K-bar knife, walk up to a random house with 5 cars in the driveway, kill 4 people inside, have a staring contest with one of them, and then walk out the back door with not a trace other than what we are being told is touch DNA on the knife sheath that was conveniently left behind, which that's a whole nother thing. And then goes home, showers, takes an awkward selfie, and then goes to Costco. Yeah. Make that make sense, Riley. Make it make sense. So, let's see if we can make it 4 seconds without me having to pause this thing again.
Dylan and Bethany. The things I've seen and read about them are disgusting. It's what Emily.
Because they have lied. They have lied every single step of the way. The stories change each and every time you talk to them. I mean, what were you expecting? Oh, they're such poor, innocent victims. Oh, I know they're contradicting each other, and the story makes absolutely no sense, but they're victims. Yeah, okay. Whatever. Yeah, I'm feeling a little extra callous in this. I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm in a good mood, too, so. I don't know.
There's no way Brian Kohberger.
So, now we got the timeline. Let's see if this can be defended. If she can defend this. Because the amount of time is insane. Here we go.
Could have committed the murders in the time frame he had. That is what everybody says. Except he did, and according to experts, he actually took longer than needed. Now, this is not newly released information.
He took longer. Well, if you're doing a speed run, which is what the Three Stooges were, as written in the MPD documents, but this wasn't a speed run. This was a long, drawn-out, torturous death, at least with Kaylee. I cannot say for sure about Maddie. I cannot say for sure about Ethan. I cannot say for sure about Xana. All we know is Xana fought like hell, and what happened in that room needs to be much better explained because that doesn't make sense. But anyway, let's continue on with Fairy Tale Land.
I've covered this before, but this is still a question and a comment that I see every single day, so I'm going to recover it. I am going to read the whole document, but for those of you that want a summary, they reconstructed the entire scene and acted it out. They took everything into consideration and ultimately determined that if Kohberger would have done this as quickly as possible, it would have taken him less than 2 minutes for the attacks. If you would.
Okay, so less than 2 minutes. And we are talking 150 stab wounds going from one end of the house to the other end of the house without leaving any noticeable blood in between. Okay? This is what she's going to be trying to defend here. Over 150 stab wounds between 4 people in under 2 minutes. There's only about 3 people that I can think of off the top of my head that can pull that off. And one of them's not real in The Flash. Chuck Norris and Jackie Chan, maybe? Maybe? I mean, oh, anyway. Continue on.
Taken his time, went the slower routes, he still only needed less than 4 minutes to commit these crimes. Now, let's read the actual narrative. Based upon the processing of the crime scene and evidence collected, investigators believe that Kohberger drove to the area and parked at the back of the residence. There is a paved parking area directly to the south that overlooks the back of the residence. Kohberger most likely entered the residence through the sliding glass door located on the second floor and the rear of the residence and then proceeded as follows. After entering through the sliding glass door, Kohberger walked through the kitchen area and to a set of stairs that lead up to the third floor. Kohberger then went up the stairs to the third floor. At the top of the stairs and directly to the left side is a door which was Gonzalez's bedroom, and to the right is a short hallway that ended in a bathroom and another door to Mogan's room. Most likely, Kohberger checked Gonzalez's room, saw it was empty, and then moved into Mogan's bedroom where we believe both Gonzalez and Mogan were asleep in Mogan's bed. Kohberger murdered both of them in the bed. Kohberger most likely went back down the stairs, walked through the second floor living room, and then down the hallway, which ended at Kernodle's bedroom. Based on the evidence, Kernodle was initially attacked just inside of the bedroom near the entrance. Kernodle fought the suspect in the bedroom area and was ultimately killed on the floor of the bedroom next to the bed. Chapin, who we believe was asleep, was murdered.
No, okay. Again, we're going with that theory. Ethan, who was asleep, and she's doing this after the autopsy report came out that showed he had like 260 milligrams or nanograms, whatever, in his system, 10 times more than Xana in his system. And even if by some ungodly miracle he was asleep, the fighting would have absolutely woken him up. Whether it's the fighting, whether it's the screaming, it would have woke him up. And then from there, it would have been on. Again, Ethan, he is a big dude. He would have been able to beat the living crap out of damn near anybody who came into that house. So, okay. So back to Fairy Tale Land.
Bed. Kohberger left the bedroom area, walked back down the hallway, passed through the living room, kitchen, and exited through the sliding glass door, leaving the door partly open. Kohberger then walked back to his vehicle and drove away from the area. Talbot and Payne assisted with the timed runs. Payne tracked the times for each run, and Talbot walked through the residence with me calling out the number of strikes to simulate the number of wounds to each victim based on autopsy reports. I conducted 2 timed runs, the first being a quickest possible run, and the second a slower, deliberate timed run. During the first trial run, I began at the rear of the residence and came through the...
Yeah, they're doing trial runs. They're training for the they're training for the next cover up that they got to do.
Sliding glass door. I then moved quickly through the kitchen and up the stairs. I looked into the bedroom to the left and then moved down the hallway and into Mogan's room. I simulated the number of strikes that were inflicted upon Mogan and Gonzalez. Talbot counted and kept track in an attempt to recreate the movements and motions believed to have occurred based on the evidence collected and the autopsy reports. I moved out of the bedroom, down the stairs, through the living room, down the hallway, and into Kernodle's bedroom. Again, with the assistance of Talbot, I simulated the number of strikes that were inflicted upon Kernodle and Chapin. I then exited back down the hallway, through the living room, through the kitchen, and out the sliding glass door. Payne reported a time of approximately 1 minute and 30 seconds on the quick as possible timed run. On the second run, slower and deliberate, I followed the same path through the residence, but at a much slower, methodical pace. I again entered through the rear sliding glass door, opening it slowly to make no noise while...
1 minute and 30 seconds. On a speed run of a quadruple homicide that was completely and totally unnecessary, because especially at that point, which I'm trying to see if there's a date on there.
1 minute and 30 seconds on the quick as possible timed run.
I can't see
on the second
date.
Run, slower and deliberate,
But we don't know. We couldn't. There's no way to know the path that Kohberger took. We can assume that the victims were in certain orders, but we can... Who's to say that there wasn't maybe, I don't know, we'll pull from yesterday, an accomplice there were more people involved than just one person who didn't know the layout of a house that looks like it was put together by a 4-year-old. We thinking about that yet? I haven't seen the video on that one yet. And even your talking head, that one of the talking heads that you follow like it's the gospel, are even beginning to question. But, whatever, I guess. All right, continue on.
Followed the same path through the residence, but at a much slower, methodical pace. I again entered through the rear sliding glass door, opening it slowly to make no noise while doing so. I then walked as quietly as I could through the kitchen and up the stairs, attempting to make no noises. I looked into the first bedroom and then slowly moved down the hallway and into Mogan's bedroom. Talbot counted and kept track again as I recreated the movements and the motions believed.
Yeah, you ain't getting through that house quietly. I mean, you can try as much as you want. You ain't getting through that quietly.
To have occurred inside the bedroom. I exited the bedroom, moved back down the stairs, through the living room, down the hallway, and into Kernodle's bedroom. The movement to Kernodle's bedroom was slower than the first run, but still somewhat quick. I again simulated the movements and motions that took place inside of Kernodle's bedroom. I then exited back down the hallway, through the living room, through the kitchen, and out the sliding glass door. Payne reported a time of approximately 2 minutes and 33 seconds. We additionally walked through simulated paths that Kohberger may have possibly taken from the vehicle to the back of the residence. The shortest and most direct path, going from the parking area and moving east to the west along the back of the house, took.
What about the cleanup? Oh wait, that's the next video.
Approximately 30 seconds. A second path, starting at the southern edge of the property and walking a fence line through some trees and moving in south to north direction towards the back of the house, took approximately 1 minute.
Yeah. Didn't like. Anyway, so yeah. Well, we had a couple of officers try it with a bunch of dummies, and we did it in 90 seconds. So it technically could have been in 90 seconds. Okay, technically you're still a dumbass. Technically, I mean, I don't know how else to put this, but. I mean, again, the wounds on Kaylee suggest torture. That's what it suggests. Anybody with a functional brain who looks at everything that happened to Kaylee will say that she was tortured. This was a long, drawn-out process. And the video from 1112 King Road, it fits that narrative. It fits that hypothesis because we hear the blood-curdling screams from the ring cam on 1112 King Road at like 2:30. So it doesn't make sense. But of course, she's going to chalk that up as, oh, we don't know if that's real. We don't know if that's real because she made a video on it, and I should probably go and find it, but that might be the next video because that video came from Jules, True Crime with Jules, I think is the channel name. So go find her and you'll find that video. But yeah, she does FOIA requests. She's absolutely phenomenal. Go and follow and subscribe to Jules. But anyway, that video came from via FOIA request. And you could hear the blood-curdling screams. And if you mix the audio and you enhance the audio, you can hear, is Anna still alive or something like that? It's been a minute, but I'd have to go back and find it. But anyway, moving on to the next one.
Are some of the comments on one of the
answering the Idaho4 conspiracy theories with factual explanations. Oh, this is a 6-minute. Oh boy. Oh Lord, be with me through these next few minutes. Because my God, I'm not going to be patient enough for this. All right, let's go.
videos from an Idaho4 conspiracy creator. By the way, I don't comment or interact with any of these videos, yet somehow all of these creators have me blocked. It's almost like
I don't have you blocked, and I I don't have you blocked, but you make for very good content because you have your head so far in the sand, it's laughable.
hearing the full story doesn't back your narrative, so let's just pretend we didn't hear it. So apparently they think that Jack, Kaylee's ex-boyfriend, was in on it and at the house during the murders, so here's this comment. I think Jack lost his phone in the chaos. Why else did they call his phone so many times? They were trying to find it. Yeah.
Okay. That is. I haven't heard any of that. I don't really get too into those type of conspiracy theories. I really just look at everything and come to my own conclusion. And I've said, I don't know if I've said it on this channel. I might have said it on the other channel when I was doing way too much on that channel, but I know I've said it on True Crime with Dago, or True Crime Cafe with Dago. But in all honesty, Jack DeCour, he is my favorite. Because now, let me tell you how I got to that point. Because when everything was originally coming out, and it was after the murders, but before kohberger, everybody was going after Jack DeCour. And I'm sitting there thinking, nah, I don't know. From everything that I've seen, it sounds like he has taken the breakup with Kaylee pretty well. So, and people would have noticed a escalation to that. And so I'm like, no, it doesn't feel like Jack. It doesn't feel like Jack. And then obviously everything with kohberger comes, yada yada. Okay, we'll see what happens at trial, and we'll go from there. Whatever. And then the plea deal comes, documents come out, go through the documents, and oh, Jack needed counseling to get over the breakup with Kaylee. That, that's one of those things that make you say, oh, okay. That got a little bit interesting. Because, and then when you top all that off with with Kaylee moving to Texas, obviously she's going to take Murphy. So not only is Jack officially losing the love of his life, but he's also losing his dog. And I mean, for those of you who are dog people, dog lovers, you know your dog's your best friend, like plain and simple. And I have seen people kill over way less than a dog. So that is when I started to turn the corner on, oh, okay. So Jack might have had something with this. And then something really was like, oh, that is interesting. And that was Bethany's interview. Now, if you notice, at the very end of Bethany's interview, the very end, Bethany says, yeah, Kaylee was changing her mind about moving to Texas. Here's the thing. No, she wasn't. I don't think she was. I think Bethany is covering for Jack DeCour. That is what that sounds like. That is what that sounds like. But that is my theory on it. And obviously there's not a way for me to prove it other than just lay it on out, walk through my thinking process here. Let me know down in the comments. What do you think?
Kaylee and Maddie did call Jack several times from about 2:30 to 2:52. None of these phone calls were answered by Jack because he was at home sleeping. They were able
Allegedly.
to verify his alibi because they ran his phone data and found, well, his phone was at his house and had no activity during the time frame he says he was sleeping. So
What if he left his phone at home? I mean, I wouldn't take my phone if I was going to commit a quadruple homicide. Honestly.
no, he wasn't there, and no, his phone wasn't there. Next, those 8 hours were spent cleaning.
Oh, so if his phone's not there, then definitely he wasn't there. Okay, gotcha.
And strategizing 100%. Except, again, if you actually look into the documents and the explanation of amido black, because that's why everybody says there's evidence of a cleanup, there wasn't. Amido black binds to proteins, so it can react with things like dairy.
People are saying that there's evidence of a cleanup because it's what it says in the documents. That there was evidence of a cleanup. It's not because of the amino black. Because that's such a stupid thing to use on. Like, obviously, that's going to alert everything on that table.
Milk, urine, certain beers. Anything that did react would have further testing done. Now, let's take a look at the kitchen. So everything that reacted was underneath this mess. That means they would have cleaned the entire counter and then put all the dirty dishes back up there, the food, everything, dropped stuff on the floor and re-dirtied it. So they'd go through all of that trouble to clean up right.
Or maybe there were a bunch of people there. The job got done. They cleaned it up. And they had a party. I don't know. And then when the time came that, okay, now we got to call this in. We got everything set for the cover-up. Okay. You guys go home. Hunter, you ready? 3, 2, 1, action.
There, but don't clean up the crime scenes. They don't clean up the rooms where it all happened. They were...
Again, you'd have... Okay. All right. Oh, this is where the FBI gets called on me, because I'm thinking... Because I'm just going through how I would do this. How... Getting into the mind of a pack of killers. Obviously, there's not a great way to hide the body. You have 2 young, attractive females who would be able to play the surviving crying witnesses, and Moscow PD is incapable and incompetent, and have them be the crying witnesses, and it was a guy who was yay tall, and describe absolutely nothing like anybody who actually did it. And then you have Bethany down. I didn't see anything. I was asleep. Even though phone records, that thing that you hold as the Holy Bible, apparently, says that she was on her phone all night. Like,
outside of the house, then brought into the house to stage the crime scene. Yeah, except dead bodies, they don't bleed. And this happens within like minutes of death, by the way. So not only would there not be pools of blood, but there also wouldn't be cast off on the walls, ceilings, and literally everywhere else that matched.
Okay. So, I never believed in the staged body theory. I would entertain it, but I never believed that, so. But as far as going with her very theory, why wouldn't there be blood all over the steps coming down if it was a chase? You're not making that turn perfectly without hitting the wall going full speed. You're not. Nobody's that coordinated. You're not grabbing onto the side, swing yourself around. Got a bloody handprint right there. Nope, nothing there. And if he was going slow and methodical, then in theory, Xana would have been able to get to her bedroom in time, shut the door, lock it, and then call 911. Or at least get Ethan woken up if he was asleep, which, again, I don't think he was. So, Anyway.
Up with the positions and the scene. And by the way, arterial spurting only happens if the heart is beating. Next, I just want to know about pink ski mask. Why delete the picture if nothing to hide? You're referring to a picture that Dylan had posted of her in a pink ski mask and then another guy in a black ski mask. First of all, she probably deleted it because you guys are absolutely insane and looking for any excuse to send literal death threats. But
okay, I'm not condoning the sending of death threats. You shouldn't do that. That's not good. That's very bad. However, I got nothing because imagine like absolutely nothing.
Besides that, what does that have to do with any of this? You guys love to throw around the phrase circumstantial evidence. Okay, she has a ski mask. Big deal. Are you guys
okay? Yeah. All right, she got a ski mask. That should be enough to convict for quadruple murder, right? I mean, it was the same for with alleged touch DNA on a knife sheath that had DNA of somebody else on it. Did they test it? Of course not. Why would they? It might destroy their narrative. But you haven't talked about that because you don't actually look at documents. You don't look at them all. You know this.
forgetting who the eyewitness was? It was her. Why would she try and implicate herself if she had anything to do with it by saying something about a ski mask that she...
And leading questions. That's you can go watch it. They were leading her all the way through like a dog on a leash.
She has a picture of on her social media. Actually, she said it was a balaclava because that's how she saw his face, not a ski mask like the one that she had, which covered their noses. Next.
Tomato, tomato.
If I'm remembering my days of being hungover correctly, I'm finding it hard to believe they went so long without getting a glass of water or using the bathroom. Would they have been able to access a bathroom without seeing any of the deceased? Well, you don't need to find it hard to believe that they went so long because here's Bethany's room on the first floor and there's a bathroom. In no circumstance did they need to go upstairs to...
We're really going after low-hanging fruit here. Really? Obviously.
To go to the bathroom. Just because you needed to drink water when you were drunk doesn't mean anything about them. That doesn't prove guilt. But besides that, they had plenty of glasses, cups, water bottles, drinks in here.
Theories.
Maybe they refilled it from the sink water. That to me sounds a whole lot more likely. My biggest question is, if you're scared, the closest room is Xana's, and inside that room is a tall, large man, Ethan, and Xana. And directly beside Dylan's room is the staircase to two other people upstairs. Instead, she ran to the main floor to the one girl who was alive. It's because she knew she was the only one alive. Okay, let's think about this for a minute. Dylan...
Oh, yes. Let us think about this. You see somebody in your house in a mask carrying, well, it started as a gun, as being described as a gun, and eventually got downgraded to a vacuum cleaner. Because, you know, that you got the murder kit, you got the mask, you got the black clothes, you got the knife, and the Dyson. Goodness gracious. But anyway, yeah, if you're scared, you're running to you're running to the guy. You're running to the tough people. Obviously, Xana's scrappy. She's a fighter. And then you have Ethan, who's 6'4" and a basketball player. I'm actually behind this one. This is yet another thing that doesn't it's logical. It's logical thinking.
Was in her room scared. She called all of the roommates. Bethany was the only one that answered, so she figured...
Well, Bethany called first, but anyway.
Bethany was the only one awake. Bethany then offered for Dylan to come downstairs with her so she didn't have to be alone. It's not like she only called Bethany. And my way of thinking, if I'm scared, I want to be close to an actual exit, which would be the main entrance, the front door on the first level. I'm not going upstairs being trapped on the third floor. And
okay, so let's use that same logic with Xana, who, in this story, in this version of events, saw Kaylee and Maddie getting murdered. What? What? You gonna apply the same logic? Exit. Exit. Like, you can't just apply logic here and then not apply logic there. That's not how this works. I mean, Santa Kearns goes into dead end. And that doesn't explain why Ethan never woke up, allegedly. So, again, let's try, like... Oh, goodness gracious.
He runs past Xana's room and sees her passed out on the ground. She thinks that she's drunk. Well, what is she going to do? Try and wake up drunk Xana to
Yeah, because we all get drunk in our own...
keep her company? No. He went downstairs because that's who answered. There's another one about them cleaning. They were cleaning. There isn't as much blood as there should be for it being gruesome and a massacre. Okay, so what is your background on analyzing a crime scene and determining how much blood there should be based off of pictures? Because I can look at just those pictures and realize that...
All right, so, and I have said this on my channel. I know that. I don't know if I've said it on Dago's channel. But obviously there's not going to be as much blood because the mattress itself that at least Maddie and Kaylee were killed on would have absorbed most of the blood. You have cast off next to the walls of the bed, which is believed to be Kaylee's blood. I think it was Kaylee's blood. And obviously, the comforter is going to soak some of that in. The mattress absolutely is going to soak some of that in. So, yeah, but I don't, and I'm going to lean with the side of the Reddit person because I have no trust in Riley, but, or as any good will faith. But anyway, I'm going to assume the Reddit user said, what about the blood, like, everywhere else? There isn't any blood. As I point to the stairwell, again, from the second to third floor, you would have blood smears all over the wall if that chase took place. Which there wasn't. Which tells us that chase didn't happen. So
there was a ton of blood. So I don't know what pictures you're looking at that look like there's not enough. And again, back to the same point we made earlier, cleaning what? Because they didn't clean up the crime scene. There's blood everywhere.
It was in the documents. It said that showed signs of cleanup.
Everywhere. They were killed much earlier and their bodies were brought into the house to stage a scene. Except dead bodies don't bleed. Even if you create new wounds within like minutes of death, you don't actively bleed.
Okay, we're circling back on the same freaking thing. Holy
like
Jesus.
You would if you were alive. Arterial spurting only happens if the heart is beating. So how did the pools of blood, the cast off on the ceiling and walls, how did that all get there? And it's not even like the blood didn't match up with the positions in the crime scene, because it did. They need to tell us who she added, because I believe it was also Molly who she added, and Dylan was hungry, not Xana. Okay, so Molly is the DoorDasher, and Dylan added a contact 9 minutes before the food was delivered. Why would she add the DoorDasher's contact 9 minutes before the food was delivered instead of 2 hours ago when the DoorDash order was placed? The order came from Xana's phone. She was on her phone until 4:12 a.m.
Okay. Show of hands. Who's waiting 2 hours for a friggin' DoorDash from Jack in the Box? Yeah, I didn't think so.
There's no way they didn't.
But of course, she doesn't question that. She didn't question that, because why question things?
Not analyze the stomach contents of Xana to make sure, yes, she is the one that ate her DoorDash order. Is Molly her real name? Molly is a code name for drugs, if you pick up what I'm putting down. So what, the police and the FBI just didn't verify her name was Molly? There's so much more, you guys, and I promise, I'm not looking down on people that are questioning stuff. You should question stuff to hold...
What is this whole video, then? What is this whole video? Oh, yeah, some of these were stupid. Yes, a lot of these were low-hanging fruit that were that are obviously false. And you're literally picking one person on the planet on Reddit who said something. You're like, oh, that can't happen because X, Y, Z. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And then you go, and then you go and have this little sign off. Like, so, yeah. It was a nice attempt, Riley. It was a nice attempt. Thanks for coming out. Obviously, you continue to show malice and refusal to question anything that has happened. Because following along with the talking heads. Because you see, the thing is, the people who are sitting there saying that, oh, Bryan Kohberger is absolutely guilty, are not looking at the full picture. They're taking one incident as it is and not tying them all together. Got to tie everything together. Because when you look back at the autopsy report, Addison Mogan did not take Murphy out. No chance in hell she took Murphy out. Because she was out herself. She was on the verge of alcohol poisoning. She was absolutely blacked out. I kind of question whether she actually made it to her bed or not. Because she was that drunk. So, that is a lie from Bethany. And then that begs the question, who lost the dog then? Was it Kaylee that came down and let the dog out? Well, no. Bethany said that it was her and Maddie. Obviously, Maddie was in no condition to be able to do anything. So, what happened there? And then you also have to tie together, and also you got to square the circle of how in the hell did Ethan not wake up while his girlfriend is screaming bloody murder across the house, if you want to believe that chase happened. Yeah. Well. Oh, Jesus. Oh. Isn't that just dandy? Absolutely dandy. Inside Kohberger's apartment. Don't care about those. Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Okay. I didn't know she had them all packed up in a nice little bow. You want to see like put in the comments if you want to see like a whole omnibus style, or I just go through each and every single one of the videos and pretty much just go off. Let's see. It has been released. Okay. Autopsy notes. New documents. Not everything has to be a conspiracy theory. Oh. Lifetime. Okay. Let's see. Facts, rumors. Oh, what's this thank you next? That's insane.
Investigators say that Bryan Kohberger only needed 3 minutes and 45 seconds at most to carry out the murders and get back to his vehicle.
Oh, that. Yeah. Or not opening that can of worms again. But all right. That's all I got for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. And we'll see you all in the next one. My phone's ringing, so thanks for watching. See ya.